Well, it is
Innuendo.
5:31 now, so I think we should probably get started.
Sure.
My name is Catherine Barsonistas, and welcome to the Gluttonous Geek Presents Slideshow. 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 Give me my screen. Give me my screen. I know that there's people on. Yay! Gluttonous Geek Presents Monster Menu, Cooking Your Kills.
Let's go.
At MomoCon 2024. Who's hungry?
There is no food here.
Yes, you're clearly so hungry. I know it's about 5:30 and you're probably getting a little hangry, and we're just going to make it so much worse. Yes, by talking about food. By the way, if you happen to be thirsty after eating your monsters, Viking Alchemists, who are good friends of ours, do have a Viking longship with both blueberry and peach mead at the Signia. So, if you are old enough to drink, we recommend. Anyway, my name is Catherine Barsonistas. I run The Gluttonous Geek, which is a nerdy food blog where we bridge the spans between food and fiction. I make recipes based off of various TV shows, video games, tabletop RPGs. I mean, I guess some of you have done that if you're here. And this panel, we are talking about what those delicious, dangerous creatures we happen to find in forests and dungeons and deserts and our closets and how we would cook and eat them. I'm going to go ahead and let's go down from, well, you're taking pictures, so let's start with you. Who are you? Why do you think you are an authority to talk about this subject, and where can we find you?
Wow, what a great way to start. Hello, everybody. My name is Jacob Plick. Do Viking Jacob all over the internet, socials, etc. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the storyteller and dungeon master for a couple of actual plays. One called Eulalia 5e Redwall Story, and another called Duval and Dragons, which you can find on Twitch and YouTube and all that other stuff. And why I'm an authority on this particular subject matter is I find it really fun when I'm GMing games to make my players even more hungry just based off of descriptions of things. And I also have a lot of thoughts about what purple worms taste like. That's me.
All right.
Hi, everyone. My name is Henry Walsh. Pronouns are they, them. I'm an author. That's what I do, but I'm also a professional dungeon master.
What did you write?
Oh, yes. I write the Chronicles of Elysia middle grade and YA series. You can find me at henrywalshauthor.com. Let's see. I think my qualifications to put me on this panel is I'm a dungeon master and I'm a fat guy. So
Same!
I think of these things.
Yeah!
All right.
Too fat. You're not wrong.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I'm Kfir Mendel. I am, I've been playing role-playing games since I was shorter than those chairs, 30-some years, and I am also the director, sometimes writer, cat herder, and otherwise make things happen of Flavor Text Adventures, which was on Patreon for a few years and just recently successfully kickstarted for a physical book.
Woo,
and it's a book on how to cook monsters, all told by Alton Green, who's a halfling chef, who's an expert at that. So,
my name is Brian Connor. I have a couple of hats online. I go by Level 1 Chef, and I had a blog. I'll get to that. I had a blog where I make video game food in real life. Since then, I, with my wife, have opened up a board game cafe in upstate New York. So I'm one of the owners and head chef of that establishment. And as you can guess, we do have a lot of nerdy patrons that enjoy our Pixel Plate dinners, which is a 5-course, 20-seat ticketed dinner I run every month, where I do dishes from a different game every time. So we've done things from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom to Genshin Impact to Final Fantasy 15 and all manner of fun topics like that. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about some paper and pen game monsters now, because I also play that.
Yes. And recently...
Oh yeah. I do also have a book that was recently published through Fangamer called Karmatrine Dream. If anyone here has played Valhalla, Cyberpunk Bartending Action, this is a recipe book on all the drinks in that game, made with components you can actually buy.
All stuff you can find under your sink.
And if you also happen to be fans of foodie television, you might recognize this gentleman from Chop Baking.
Oh, yeah, I lost. Don't watch that.
And speaking of books, I also have my first cookbook / 5E compatible adventure, Breakfast of Champions, which involves a lot of breakfast food and arena combat. So, now that we've talked about ourselves, let's talk about eating things. Dangerous things. And what will happen is I will put a monster up on the screen, and you will tell me what you think this monster tastes like and how you would cook it. So first, we're going to start out with the basic. Let's go with dragons.
Ooh.
I'm not talking about you. Okay, so just to give you a heads up, at the end, once we go through this presentation, you will come up to this microphone if you would like a monster for us to talk about what it tastes like and how we would cook it. I will let you know when that is the case. And make sure that is a monster suggestion, not a explanation or something that you might have done in your kitchen. We'll talk about those things after the panel, possibly outside. So dragons, folks, what do you think it tastes like and how would you cook it?
Chicken.
Is this a chromatic dragon, gem dragon?
Any dragon you want.
Any dragon.
Any dragon you want.
I do have to imagine, to your point around gem dragons, that those are probably a little bit more difficult, considering. But the very first thing that comes to my mind, especially because of like, you know, the veins of the wings and things like that, is like probably the consistency of something like venison, I feel like.
Oh, okay.
Which, you know, or like something, you know, more beefy, which leads me to believe, you know, be very, very heavy on the seasoning. And I think I would, if I had the ability to, thinking like grilled or like blackened dragon sounds like real legit. But now I kind of also want to like fry it. See, my neurodivergency is just going off.
All right.
Well, there's a lot of wing to go around, so maybe
Indeed.
take some of that
Yeah.
dragon wing and do some jerky with it. It seems
Oh,
like
yeah,
that'd
let's
be great.
go.
Or, I mean, you could do kind of a porchetta sort of treatment with, like, the webbing part, and, like, just kind of use that to wrap, like, dragon sausage around and then roast it in the oven.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
We did Dragon Wellington.
All right, well,
Go on.
tell us about the Dragon Wellington, Kafir, into the microphone,
Oh,
so we can hear you.
yeah. So we did Dragon Wellington in one chapter. It was just out of the tongue, really. Cooking a tongue. I mean, in the game, it would be difficult because I mean, it was a red dragon, and they're kind of resistant to cooking, right? So it takes some good skill checks.
Maybe
and
some dehydration, maybe?
could be.
maybe.
Well, and then it's kind of chewy if you do that.
Yeah.
It's once you
Well,
get
I mean,
past the skin.
you did pick the tongue. I mean, that is kind of a chewy part there. Of all the parts of the dragon, you went for the tongue.
It's true.
Yeah, very
Well,
specific.
Yes.
Well, you know, cooking an entire dragon would be a task. Yeah, I think it was beef.
Yeah,
So
and it's funny you
Beefy.
mentioned. Oh, go ahead.
I'm good. I'm done.
Yeah, that's it.
Good. Yeah.
That's it. We're good.
Funny I
Okay.
mentioned what?
Funny you mentioned the cooking the whole dragon piece because one of the recipes that I have is based off of the role-playing podcast Loot and Dagger, where they actually do kill a green dragon and then smoke the meat for a nice dragon barbecue. Since it's a green dragon, I decided to incorporate slightly toxic elements such as, I guess, almond and matcha powder.
Ooh.
And since James Stiver, the DM of said podcast, is very fond of Sweetwater 420, it was marinated in that as well.
Ooh, nice.
There is a saying, raise the crimson goblets, and yes, I'm talking about the solo kind.
I just like the fact this is a family-friendly panel and half of us have been talking about liquor.
You're not wrong.
It's like
The kids know it exists,
It's
okay?
like a dragon. It'll
That's
just
how
go
families
right over
happen.
their heads. Thank you for flying dragon.
You have liquor.
And then thank you for serving dragon. Then we also have a chromatic dragon eggs cheese balls, where we have one for green dragon, which has matcha powder and, well, almonds. A black dragon, which is acidic, so I used garlic and lemon zest, as well as covered with black poppy seeds, well, black sesame seeds, because it's a black dragon. And for the red dragon, gochujang, and I want to say that's harissa powder and peanuts. So, next.
I love the
Oh, by
scaled
the
look.
way, I should have said this earlier, but my brain is Swiss cheese. The QR code there will lead you to a Google Drive that contains all the recipe cards except for kefirs that are featured in today's panel. So yes, you get free recipe cards.
And as a fat man, I can just say those cheese eggs are amazing. I mean, I'm just saying.
It's because I brought them to your game one time.
They tasted good.
Hippogriffs. Who wants to eat a hippogriff?
Ooh, I'll take this one.
All right.
I tend to focus on the lowest common denominator cooking because, unlike the other people here, I am not a chef. I have burned eggs, and that's what we're going to talk about with the hippogriff. They
He's
lay
also
eggs.
burned water, too.
Only once. But yes, hippogriffs lay eggs. And that would be what I would use with a hippogriff because they're kind of like birds, so I treat them like chickens. They're,
So you would burn them, too?
Jeez.
I've gotten better.
Spicy.
I've gotten better, but I would say you take hippogriff eggs and make a quiche out of them. That's what I would do. I would keep the hippogriff alive so they could keep producing eggs. Like,
Well, it's like with chickens, like during the Middle Ages. Like, you don't want to kill your chickens outright because that's your main producer, your egg layer.
yeah, and hippogriffs are much bigger than chickens, which means the eggs are a lot bigger. They're closer to like ostrich eggs.
Yeah.
So, one egg is a meal for multiple people.
All right. Anyone else? Hippogriffs?
I know we talked a lot about deep frying last night, so I'm
Okay.
surprised that
So
we
once the
did.
hippogriff stops laying.
I mean, look at those wings. Can you imagine? Just one giant chicken wing. That's your whole party.
You know, I can imagine. And I did. So there's this game called Tiny Taverns from Gallant Knight Games, where you can run a fictional fantasy tavern with a group of friends. And one of the recipes that gives you powers, well, one of the dishes that gives you powers is spicy hippogriff wings. So this is actually a turkey wing. Yes, you can buy them. Fried with a buffalo wing sauce using poudre fort, which is a medieval spice blend, which is kind of like what happens when you mix pumpkin spice with black pepper. So, yes, it's delicious, and you don't really need more than one. I mean, you don't really need more than one. You might want more than one, but I'm not going to judge.
I have two really important questions for you.
Yes.
Number one,
Uh-huh.
ranch or blue cheese?
That is actually a creamy dill sauce.
Touche. Someone feels very, very, very opinionated.
So it is actually very ranch-like.
That would be my preference.
Okay.
Number two, what would you say is the difference between cooking, say, a hippogriff and something much larger, like a rock or something like that?
Well, for one, you're going to need a lot more fuel.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean,
She's
considering...
a big girl.
Well, I mean, considering what, you find rocks like around volcanic islands.
Sometimes.
You just, find a stake that, like, just get a giant, like, telephone pole size spit and just sort of, like, slow roast
You can find
it.
that just in any old village.
Right
Yeah,
over
yeah,
the
just,
caldera
10 foot,
of that
20 foot,
volcano.
100-foot pole.
A pine tree.
I mean, that's part of your standard explorer's kit, right?
Indeed.
And you can set off pretty much every trap in the dungeon with it, too.
That's what's fun about world building. You can just make it up.
Yep. And the points don't matter.
Exactly.
And if you laughed at that joke, you're old. So.
Yep.
All right, so next up, we've got a periton.
We actually did that.
I
I
don't
know.
know what that is.
This one's
That's
new
your
to
that's your
me.
drawing, isn't it?
Well, not mine. I didn't
Well,
draw it. but
Okay, that's one. That's
was in the
someone you
book.
hired's drawing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. So a
Jovi
periton.
Are those
What did we
antlers?
do with the periton?
Okay, why don't you tell people what a periton is?
They are an awful, awful monster. They're weird. They're one of the weirder monsters I feel like in D&D.
Yes.
They're like half deer, half eagle, half third something. They're really weird, magical, awful, like evil. You'd think they're like, oh, well, that's kind of your regular hybrid sort of griffin,
So
or
a real monster.
they're like, will go
Yes.
after you, murder you, and be. It's.
Oh, I think I remember that they eat still beating heart from your chest.
Yeah, they're just like. This is
And-
Well,
like.
then I'm going to do it to them then.
And yeah, ooh, that's a good
That's the
idea.
only way to taste their courage.
Well,
Whoever invented that monster had issues.
apparently their shadow takes the form of the person whose heart they ate the last. So
Mm-hmm.
what we really need to do is find someone who's incredibly wholesome. Incredibly
None of
wholesome.
us.
Feed them to the periton, and then
Oh man, I thought we were going somewhere else because I was like, oh, I have a couple of like really wholesome light pieces, and then you were like, and then we feed them to the parrots, and I went,
And that will make the heart of the parrot taste so much better than it probably would.
I'm not willing to sacrifice my very cute kobold friend.
Our heroes, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so what alignment are we?
I'm neutral good.
I'm chaotic hungry.
I'm neutral confused.
I mean, with that one, I just got to say the only thing I would do is I would lop those legs off and deep fry them.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Gigantic drumsticks.
I feel like we're back to the wings again.
We need to go for food after this.
Let's
Indeed.
turn.
I think we
Someone's
made
craving
dumplings.
wings.
Let's turn the tables and eat its heart.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think that
it's probably pretty big.
Well, I
Chicken
mean,
hearts?
have you cooked heart, Brian, in any of your pixel to plate
I have
games?
not cooked heart since culinary school, which is like 18 years ago.
Okay,
for
so
me.
what did
And
you cook? Like, what heart dish did you cook in culinary school?
Man, I mean,
And how can we apply that to
yeah,
the
it was
parrot?
like it was the same class with all the other awful like liver and kidney and all that kind of stuff, and it was all just wet method.
Okay,
like
and for those who have not gone to culinary school,
so
Everyone else.
because there is so much fat, you wouldn't want to like get it too hot, or you're gonna render it all out, and you're gonna toughen it up. So using a wet cooking method like a braise or something like that would probably be the way to go.
all right. So I imagine being part stag, it's probably going to be a bit gamey. So we're probably going to want to use some kind of dark wine, maybe. Maybe a. Am I the only one who knows this stuff?
No,
I just
red
eat
wine definitely. We did
Red wine, yeah.
I did a Rad Stag Redemption stew from Fallout for one of the Pixel plates, and that was supposed to be like a venison stew with the Ragstad, and we
Yeah.
definitely used bourbon and red wine in
And
that
I
one.
imagine, since it looks kind of vulture-like, we probably want it to taste a little less like garbage.
Absolutely not like garbage.
Deer hearts are delicious.
And once more, we go back to the alcohol.
Indeed.
Yes.
One of the
It's
things
a
I was
cooking
thinking
method.
about as I looked at this image is like their antlers up there,
Uh-huh.
and is like, oh man, I bet that like soaking that for a really long time could make a really really awesome stock. And then my brain immediately went, ooh,
No.
ramen, ramen,
Antler,
right, like little like almost like a tonkatsu kind of like
So
like
we're
broth or
talking about a
whatever.
parakatsu ramen. Or kotsu. No, it's kotsu. Not katsu is when you like bread it and deep fry. Kotsu is like when you got the ramen.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, so what do we
Words.
actually end up making, Kfir?
Those were, I think those were dumplings. Yeah, right. Yes.
Yes,
And there were two kinds. There were like one for the ground, one for the air, like inspired by those. I was not the chef, so I don't remember all of them. There were like 30 chapters or something like that. But they look good. It's a problem from a publisher's standpoint when you live in a different state as the chef that's designing the food. You don't get to eat it, unfortunately. I ate some of them, but not all
Well,
of them.
considering I've never seen this chapter either, and I just took a picture you gave me, it looks like a delicious.
It does.
Yeah,
You
know
can
what
get
kind
it for
of-
free.
I did.
You did. You got the chapter.
My ADHD is just going, ooh,
Not
triangles.
Harrison.
Oh,
That's
You
it.
just gave
So,
me some pictures.
so you can because my I don't know where that.
This QR code actually leads to the Flavor Text Adventures website, where you can
Right.
purchase before it's been printed the Flavor Text Adventures. This is
This is not the book.
not the cookbook. The cookbook is going to be much larger.
So 2 minutes on that or 30 seconds. This will take you to the website. If you scroll all the way down on the website, you'll get the Cave Troll chapter for free as a PDF. If you sign up for the mailing list, you'll get the Peryton chapter for free. And it's not just cooking for your dinner table, it's also cooking for in the gaming table, right, inside the game. And what it does do when you eat that thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
keep going.
All right, Displacer Beasts.
Totally pork.
Classic.
That will taste like pork, for sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's clearly duck. Clearly.
The only problem is like you risk cutting yourself when you're trying to chop it up.
Well, there's also the whole aspect of as you're trying to, work with the tentacles. It might end up just displacing you across the kitchen, and then you're coming back and then trying to chop it again, and then you just get thrown into like downstairs bathroom.
Who's played Overcooked? I feel like that
Hell
would
yeah.
be I feel like that would be a gimmick in an Overcooked level.
Yeah.
Actually, weirdly enough, before the panel, I found a recipe for Displacer Beasts called Shifting Calamari. So I want to read to you. The tentacles of a displacer beast slice and fried in a light batter. Aim your fork carefully. I don't know what, well, considering displacer beast, I kind of understand what that means.
So as you're trying to drop them into the deep fryer, they just kind of fall.
Stop moving! Or even after it's dead, like even the calamari is just like, the fork, and it's just like, it's teleporting.
So what happens when it happens to displace itself when it's in the cooking oil? And it's like halfway through being cooked, and it's still in the, and is it going to be in the oil still? Or were you hoping it's going to go to the water bath or like into your underpants? I don't know.
Safety first.
Yes. Make sure to wear Teflon or no, asbestos.
Teflon?
Wear asbestos everything.
So
Isn't asbestos bad?
Yes, it is.
just to
But
interject
someone's
is
getting burned to death.
just to interject is one of the few subjects that I actually know about. The displacer beast doesn't actually displace physically. It's actually an illusion that constantly moves. It's actually an illusion that constantly moves back and forth. So it's not actually moving. You're just seeing it in a different place.
While true, less fun.
I have to actually, this is a nerd convention.
I respect it.
So what did I actually drop into the deep fryer?
You don't want to know.
Are we hallucinating?
All right, and with that, what did you make, Brian?
So when I look at the displacer beast, obviously you see the tentacles, but then you also see like a big land animal, panther type, you know?
Yeah.
So I decided to put those both together in a dish that commonly uses both, seafood and like strongly flavored meat into a gumbo here. So I figure that's a good way to incorporate. I think in this one I used like short round beef for this specific recipe, and then calamari hoods. I didn't use the tentacles because if it was a displacer beast, the whole thing is a tentacle, and I kind of posited that maybe the tentacles are hollow, so those would be the rings.
All right. Okay. Kappas. You know what kappa is, right?
Turtle soup.
Next monster.
So for those unaware, a kappa is from Japanese mythology and folklore. It is a turtle-looking creature as such with a hollow upon its head that usually has water in it. To say what it does to humans is not a family-friendly thing.
That is true.
So usually if you want to protect yourself from said kappa, when you see one, you want to bow, and it will return the bow, empty out the water its head, and then go rush for the water, and then you get the heck out of there while it is trying to refill its head. Or you write your name, it didn't say what language, onto a cucumber, and throw it out as an offering to the river and hope that they will accept your offering and not try to do those really unspeakable things to you. Or if a certain Japanese woodcut is to be believed, you fart in its face. So, how would you like to cook and eat this guy?
Strangely, farting seems like the most effective method
So
of all of those.
So you want to fart on it and then eat it. That sounds delicious, Kfir.
I'm just want to point out, of all those methods to get rid of it, farting in its face seems like it would be the most effective.
Yeah, because you'll have a readily made fart before you'll probably have a cucumber in your pocket, right?
True.
Exactly.
But then we're still hungry because we don't have a kappa to eat.
Well, yeah, but the fart creates a distraction, which is how you get to blindside it.
It might also season
So
it.
after you fart it on it,
Yeah, the order of operations, right?
after you fart on it, how are you going to cook it?
I think
Especially to get that fart taste out of it.
immediately what comes to mind is like a kind of a large sort of campfire type display with like it like on its back, because I think, or I hope anyway, that shell's probably got some real cool shell meat in there for me to kind of poke at.
So display and poking.
Yeah,
Delicious.
experiment, you know.
Yeah, I'd probably cook it in the shell. Yeah, just cut it all up, throw it in the shell, fill it up with the water from the head,
All right.
make a soup.
Comes with all the ingredients you need.
Yeah. All right. Well, I made hamburger steak with it.
Nice.
So
And you had cucumbers.
I had cucumbers. Yes, I decided to keep the cucumber.
What
Now,
about the
apparently,
fart?
And I did not fart on it.
Okay.
You missed out on the seasoning.
I
opportunity there.
bowed, and then I had someone else smack it on the head. That's how you do
And
it.
you kept your cucumber.
And I kept the cucumber. How do you think I was able to get the thing out of the water? I mean, so apparently turtle is supposed to taste kind of like a mix between beef and fish. So I did both because I don't really feel comfortable with utilizing the turtles that are at DeKalb Farmers Market because they're still alive. And yeah, that's a bit weird for me. Also, most of my readers can't get turtle meat. So I used a mixture of ground beef and canned salmon to make our hamburger steak, and then served it with some pseudomuno, which I eat kind of a rice wine pickled cucumber and sesame seeds. So it was
It's much easier to feel better about eating monsters when they're actually evil and attacking you instead of
Yes,
when
it
they're just like
is.
swimming around.
It is. I mean, otherwise it's just a cute little turtle that you're like, oh no, the turtle happened to get into the entire vat of catfish. Are you? Oh no, it's supposed to be there.
I feel like when you get hungry enough, your alignment doesn't really matter too
No,
much.
it's like I'm good. I'm really good. Shambling Mounds. Let's talk about Shambling Mounds.
Yeah.
Anyone here ever heard of the salad shooter?
Yes. Also, we're old.
I think that's all you need. Just like ground that thing up. It's a ready-made salad. It's all greens. It's good for you. I don't think it has any meat. I could be wrong, but you do have to remove
yes,
the teeth.
I mean, if it's eaten recently, then it probably does.
I mean, that'd be.
Huh.
I guess.
An extra snack.
It's like a ready-made. I mean, it's like a ready-made Cobb salad in that case, right?
Let's not discount the extensive cleaning that we would need to do on this guy.
We made a
That is-
quiche out
That
of
is
it.
dirty.
Yes, I
Why?
know. I photographed it recently.
Right.
Yes.
A shambling mound?
It was delicious. It's shambling mound quiche.
Oh.
Well, actually, it's a really cool recipe. So the chef had essentially made kind of a potatoes pilau, like a mashed potato with curry and peas, and then mixed that with what were the other things? Spinach and white cheddar
Ooh.
and Parmesan before baking it in a pie, and it was amazing and fun to photograph too. But go ahead.
It's one of the few, like when you're trying to make a book about cooking monsters, you realize that when you eat monsters, you're killing things that are moving around. So vegetarian dishes are really rare. So this is one of the few that you can actually say, oh, that one will be vegetarian because it's a shambling mound of plants.
It's very economical using the whole part of the
Right.
plant animal. Planimal? Ant? Wait, that doesn't work. Right. So I actually have two recipes featured for this. Shambling Mound salad using roasted sweet potato, candied walnuts, and mixed greens with fresh mint and portobello mushroom caps. And yes, the Shambling Mound soba with a pistachio pesto and shiitake mushroom with cilantro. It is quite refreshing, I think. And as you see, we have our little orc running away from our Shambling Mound across from his big brother. So, cave trolls.
Oh boy.
Cave troll.
So
I've got a story about that one.
yeah, you definitely have to cook that thing in fire.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. that
Or
one.
acid.
Or well, I mean, do you really want to eat something you cooked in acid?
Yeah, it's called troll ceviche.
Oh.
You were too quick with that answer.
Yeah.
Far too quick.
Thought too much about
I'm
this.
actually kind of scared of you
course.
now.
You've thought way too much about this, and y'all are saying all these cooking words that I don't understand. So like, I'm sitting up here, probably like some people in the audience, going, "What are they talking about?"
I know what ceviche is. Ceviche. I said it wrong. Nice. Amazing.
You know, cooking in acid, ceviche. Broaden your horizons.
Yeah, ceviche is commonly used
Rotten.
with seafood. It uses a combination of a marinade that has like a lot of acidic components, like you said, in order to chemically cook the fish instead of using any heat to do it, because the acid still denatures those proteins, and that's really what cooking is.
Well, I
The
mean-
more you know.
Well, and especially with the troll, because then you have it regenerating on the plate as you're trying to eat it, and then that just does
consider
not work.
A little caveat about that. So when we came up, this was the birth of Flavor Text Adventures. I was actually at Origins Game Fair, and somebody asked me what would cave troll taste like. It was a conversation, And I'm like, I don't know, but I know who would, because the folks that were publishing the One Ring game were there with a booth. So I went over there, and I said, did you write any of these books? And the guy says, yes. And I go, I got a question for you. What would Cave Troll taste like? And we dove down a goblin hole for like 45 minutes talking about, this is Lord of the Rings trolls,
Family friendly.
right? Talking about whether, could you cook a Lord of the Rings troll? Do you have to cook it in the dark? Will it turn to stone after it dies? If you eat it in the dark and then you go out in the sunlight, will it turn to stone in your stomach? Or
Artificial light.
could you poop and then sculpt with the poop and then it'll turn to stone? It was a long conversation.
So are you
Where did
literally
that come
talking?
in?
Are you
Because they
literally?
turn to stone
think
in the
when it's
daylight.
inside you,
Why
it's
are we
in
bringing
shadow.
human poop into it?
I just wait. Does this
Well,
mean
it's
you're
still
poop?
troll. So we went a long way.
So basically,
But-
you want to digest it before it turns to stone, right?
Exactly. Well, technically, apparently, according to him, trolls don't have souls, and that's what turns them to stone in the mythos of.
So we
Lord of the
convert it
Rings.
to some kind of religion, and then we kill it.
Yeah, it's something like that.
So if
There are also deep trolls that had mushrooms growing on them, and that's what we went with. Was mushroom stuffed pork chops.
Speaking of which, there it is. Delicious
But they don't
mushroom
regenerate.
stuff.
I love that the troll is his own ritual sacrifice. Like, I think that's amazing.
Well, it's called a ritual sacrifice.
Snack him? Oh,
Sacrifice.
sacrifice.
I see.
Sacrifice.
Someone write that down.
Sacrifice. All right.
I did not know.
And next, hopefully nothing to do with pooping out trolls,
Oh, but I love them.
the treant.
I love wood.
How
I kind of think with treants, you'd probably like boil them, kind of like you do with bamboo.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Like I would tear off the bark in strips, boil the bark, put some kind of sauce on it, and it gets kind of chewy, and add it to ramen, and you're good to go.
I was thinking pho myself, but yeah.
Pho, yeah.
Yeah, totally. Kind of like how you see a lot of was it bamboo shoots or whatever they're called?
Yeah,
or
yeah,
sprouts
bamboo
or whatever.
shoots.
So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you're saying cook the young ones?
Yes.
Right.
Always.
Babies are tasty. It's a universal truth.
Not the
And-
younglings.
They're tender.
Just like how the face is the tastiest part of the animal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where the soul is, right?
Unless you're a cave troll that hasn't been
And then
converted to some kind of
can't troll the
religion.
audience is like, hey.
Otherwise, it'll turn into stone, and that's bad. So what I actually ended up making was taking parts of the treant and using it to burn and cook my portobello mushroom caps, which are also
cool.
part of the treant, as well as making a smoked treant sweet tea using lapsang souchong, which is a smoked black tea, blackberries, rosemary, and God, what else did I add? It's in my face. Where are you? I have this in my Google Drive. I looked at this before we did the panel. What the heck is wrong with me?
While you're looking that up, it made me that
here we
idea sort
are.
of made me think about how sometimes with something like barbecue, you use specific sets of wood to
Yeah.
deepen the flavor. So you could sort of do that with treant probably.
But yeah, the sandwiches actually also have roasted kale and apple, as well as mustard. So stuff you can also find, kind of around the base of the treant after you've killed it, or chopped it down, or however method of getting rid of it. And the sweet tea has lapsang souchong tea, rosemary, blackberries, juniper berries, cinnamon stick because the bark, and bay leaves.
Ah, very cool.
Which adds a nice kind of drawing sort of flavor to, draw you towards the chaotic, evil, or hungry alignment.
It's funny because I was thinking about treants are fey, right? So there's got to be some level of, I think so.
Well, I mean, if you really want to add luster dust to it as well, make
Yeah.
it glittery. I mean,
Well, whatever in
totally
my
could.
world they are.
I mean, it doesn't add anything to the flavor. So, all right, mimics.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
Tofu. Okay.
Tofu.
I kind of think of mimics as clams. You remove the outer shell and you have the tongue and center the muscle of the clam, and you cook clams. I mean, that's the first thing I think of when I think.
Well,
of
I mean, it does have the pseudopods.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
It's like the little sticky arms that you get
Yeah.
out of the
It's kind of chewy.
chewy. Yes.
Add
chewy
some
mimics.
salt on it, you're good to go.
We were talking about jerky earlier, mimic tongue jerky,
Mimic
everybody?
tongue
Oh,
jerky,
that would
yeah.
be good.
Yeah. Okay. So what we got?
I kind of love in the middle of all this. You're like, you get too busy in the middle of cooking. You just kind of toss it on the wall, knowing it'll stick, and you don't have to worry about it for a little while.
So what we actually have here, my recipe for mimic meatloaf muffins. with a garlic mashed potato and roasted garlic clove tongue, teeth and bacon tongue. And Brian can tell you about his smoked mimic tongue tacos.
Yeah, so the idea with this was to use all parts of the mimic.
Very economical.
So the tongue obviously being the prize cut here. Tacos de lengua is, tongue tacos, and I was going to use the chest of the mimic, the wooden chest of the mimic, to smash that up and use that to smoke the tongue itself to prepare it for those tacos. So, sustainable.
Okay. So next up, we have gelatinous cubes.
I got one for this.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
I was talking about this before the panel.
You sure were.
All right.
I had no advanced prior knowledge of what was on here, by the way.
Whatsoever.
So what you're going to do with this, you're going to cut off like slabs of gelatin, right? You're going to put that in a bowl. You're going to have to put baking soda in there to neutralize the natural acid. Apply it to medium heat. It'll eventually melt down to like almost a sauce. Take your favorite fruits, toss them in there, swirl it around, place the bowl in the fridge, and when you pull it out, you have basically a Jell-O mold.
We solved gelatinous
Very
cubes, everyone.
specific.
Yes. I mean,
yeah.
I would probably use it to marinate the dragon
Yeah.
It would definitely make it
For sure.
more tender.
or the cave troll.
Or if anything, like, because, typically back in the day, they would use, like, salt as a preservative.
Yeah,
Exhibit
I mean,
A, right?
I mean, yeah, just use the gelatinous cube and the cave troll that you happen to find in the dungeon and use them to cook the other. I mean, ceviche.
Indeed.
Why is nobody mentioning Jell-O shots?
Family friendly.
Because we already did the alcohol thing like 4 times.
I mean, you could, but you might want to mix it with something. Otherwise, you also lose your esophagus.
That is very true.
Yeah.
There are some types of vodka that'll do that.
But speaking of
Everclear.
gelatin, also from Tiny Taverns, the Cave Slime Compote. That is actually 2 layers, one with a strawberry mint gelatin, and on top, a spiced pear gelatin. And next up, Brian.
Yeah, I just did a little cute representation of a gelatinous cube. We can see some unfortunate gummy bears have gotten stuck in there.
Oh, buddy.
They should have never gone down that hallway.
The challenge rating was way too high for them.
And
They are gummy bears.
So this next monster I'm about to put up is the most heinous monster that you'll ever face. It is probably has been responsible for actually all player deaths at some point in your game.
Kobolds?
Yep, knew that was coming. Yep.
Tell me, how would you serve the Dungeon Master? And I
gotta-
don't mean it in a non-family friendly way.
And you gotta roast them. You just make fun of them the whole session.
Good one.
On a smoker. For Jacob, my DM, who his family's sitting here. Yeah, I mean, he loves smoking meat, so I would just, in honor of his
You
gift.
honor the ritual
Right,
sacrifice.
yeah.
Yes.
I think I would put him on a smoker.
All
So you
right.
kill him painfully is what you're trying to say. Slowly and painfully.
Yes.
What a time to be a DM these
I
days.
just want to make sure I was crystal clear in another understanding.
So how I don't know if this would go to roast, but how you kill the GM is every NPC you meet, immediately look at the GM and go, "What's your name? Where do you live? Do you have any family? Your DM will die and they'll turn to mush."
Okay, but how would you actually cook and serve him?
Well, once they turn to mush, you just heat it up. It's like mashed potatoes.
Serve with lots of cheese and sour cream, right?
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you?
And bacon, because everything's better
Well,
with
I
bacon.
mean, yeah, you can add bacon, ham, whatever you want.
See, I'm having such an issue with this question because as a forever GM, I'm having this now sudden existential crisis of how I die.
How
So
would you
hopefully
like to be
well.
cooked?
How would you serve and cook yourself?
Yeah, that is the existential crisis I'm currently having right now. Thanks, Kat.
You're welcome.
Thanks. I'm so happy to be here. Hopefully,
We only roast the ones we love.
honestly, just throw me in a gelatinous cube, dude. I'm cool.
Dungeon Master Ceviche, got it. All right, and now that brings us up to our session of you give us a monster and we will figure out a way to cook it. We have a microphone over there. If you could just line up the microphone and please just give us a monster. Please no multi-part questions or statements because we're pretty sure that lots of people would love to participate and we want to make sure we get everybody. So, all right.
Hi. I was wondering how you might handle a flump, those little extraplanar little floaty guys.
My next D&D session that I'm running for Cat is called The Flump and the Furious. So I've actually thought about this. Flumps are very mushroom-like, but they're also very airy. They're mostly hollow on the inside. Mm-hmm. So it kind of, to harken back to something I said yesterday, it's kind of like a pufferfish. When you first stab it, it deflates, and then you have to know what you're doing to cook it right.
I would say use that hollow body as a pudding bag to then make a boiled pudding.
Oh.
And it probably would be cotton candy flavored.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
I'm thinking something like a meringue. It's crusty on the outside, but still fluffy on the inside.
So yeah, if you roast it, it would have that kind of meringue texture, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you like fill it with egg whites first, so it gets all nice and like frothy and all that. Yeah. What about you, Brian? Got any ideas?
Oh, well, I was just looking at, I don't think I've ever encountered a flump before, but just looking at it.
They're a good time.
Yeah, a lot of tentacles, so there's always, fried calamari root on that.
For sure.
I was also thinking if it has like a really thin skin or something, you could always use it as a casing for a sausage.
True.
Oh.
And it would probably taste like pixie sticks. All right, next monster.
So like beholders, right?
Okay.
They're all eyeballs, just floating heads, like those guys.
Okay.
It's a giant meatball.
So you have to be careful with it because apparently some beholders can turn completely crystalline after you kill them. But I actually wanted to do a beholder stock recipe because of Baldur's Gate 3 and I am a nerd and I didn't have time. So the idea I had, and it'll probably taste a bit like this, has anyone ever had stuffed eggplant dim sum with shrimp paste? I'm talking that. So you got that shrimp and pork sort of combination, and then maybe a bit of the fermented black soybeans to get a bit of funk in there, like a little underground funk. And then use a hard-boiled egg for the eyeball, cover the whole thing in rice paper, and then steam it for that kind of gelatinous sort of taste. But an actual beholder, I don't know. I'd probably just, give it a book of riddles and full of puns and make it like.
And then it would just like die.
Yes, it'll die on the inside, and then I will try to harvest it before it turns into crystalline.
For me, because like beholders are a lot about the lore about beholders is tied to their ability to dream up like new versions of themselves or create like demi-planes based off of that kind of stuff. I think I would start with bringing up the previously stated existential crisis and talk to the beholder about that, killing the beholder instantly, and then what I imagine that beholders are probably like very like fleshy, but like the consistency of like leather.
Yeah.
So my immediate reaction is to take like one of those like spiralizers and then like just twist that up. And kind of make a spaghetti out of it.
Well, especially with all the like optical nerves and the tentacles,
Totally,
right?
yeah.
I could totally make pasta with that. Anything? All right, next monster.
So I think you all missed something about the dungeon master and serving them. You have to have serve them with rolls for initiative.
Oh.
Get out!
Oh, that hurt.
That was good. That was
Call security. Someone
and,
please call security. I want to know the number.
Get him out of here.
I just took 1d4 psychic damage.
Yo, samesies though. I failed my
Yeah.
wisdom
And
save.
apparently served with cheese. Got it.
But yeah. I was going to ask you a question, but sorry, but yeah, Trask.
I got Tarask.
We did a Tarask grilled cheese sandwich, but it was for April Fools.
Wait, well, that makes sense.
Because you got to
So
milk a
more
Tarask.
seriously.
So good luck.
Yeah,
And-
I more in a serious sense.
It depends with a Tarask. It also depends on which Tarask. Like, if you go for the original Tarask, like the second edition AD&D Tarask, you have to beat that thing down to -30 hit points and then use a wish spell to kill it. So if you wish it into a pie, I think that's what I do.
Terrace pie.
Man,
That actually works. Okay.
we just need a couple archmages
Next
and we're good to
monster.
go.
Next monster, please.
I don't know how similar this would be to a troll, but like, what about a goblin?
Bacon pie.
Yeah.
They taste like bacon.
Well, I mean, they're very much fast twitch muscles, so I'm thinking that they probably taste of whatever they're eating plus chicken, or something particularly stringy like maybe a bit of gator, especially they're pretty scrappy and spry and eating whatever happens to be in front of them. So, bit like gator.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
I'm down with that.
And how to cook him?
And I like
well,
bacon.
I'm sure the goblins have their own little stash of whatever they stole from the nearby settlements. So we'll just it'll be a potluck made with whatever happens to be in there. All right, next one.
What's up?
I was thinking manticore.
It's like you prepare it like it's a turducken.
Yeah, it's basically
Chop up all the different pieces and then you bake one inside of the other.
Well, I mean, have you ever seen medieval subtleties, where they usually, well, honestly, it just makes it look like a manticore. Anyway, I could see chili because, I have possibly several different meats in a chili.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got a little bit of the extra beefy parts or the chewy parts, and then you can use bones to make it stock. That'd actually be really
Snaky
interesting.
part.
Yeah, that'd be a really interesting stock, wouldn't it, though?
I'm thinking sausage. Just grind the whole thing up, mix it all together.
Oh, heck yes.
Yeah, I bet the base of the manticore is probably decently spicy. Like you're talking about sausage, so I bet it tastes kind of like an andouille sausage.
Exactly. Yeah, that would be great.
All right, I think
That's my
our
favorite. That's
answer.
my favorite one so far. Well
All
done.
right, next monster.
Drow.
Eggplant
alignment-
With
parm.
fava
alignment
beans and a
continues to
little
shift.
Chianti.
Oh, with systemic. Yeah.
Could you just
Yeah.
could
You
you
got any
just
friends
do
with Menzo Barons around the house?
them?
how I would cook
drow.
and serve it. I don't know. Ask your mother. All right, family friendly next.
Next question.
Punt.
I'm seriously stumped.
I got a weird one for you.
Go for it.
Aboleth.
No.
Aboleth?
No. Mm-mm. No dead babies. No. No.
Okay.
No.
No dead
that X-nay on the aboleth leg.
Fallen celestial.
Fallen. Oh, I'm not
Oh,
sure. if
angel
that's any
meat.
worse. Angel meat. Ooh.
Well, if we follow, depending on the edition of D&D, the first thing you have to worry for 5e. Okay, the first thing you have to worry about is the fact that they're effectively made of radiant damage,
Yeah.
and that's a lot harder to neutralize than acid.
So it tastes like sunshine.
Tastes like sunshine and rainbows,
Yeah. And fatal sunshine and rainbows.
and I'm pretty sure it also changes your alignment to chaotic evil.
But it would be a very sunshiny rainbow place.
And also, you might have a god after you.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit.
So are we talking maybe pixie stick glazed bacon or something?
I can see that.
Candied bacon.
It also depends on.
It tastes like candied bacon. Candied bacon.
Thank you.
All right.
A phoenix.
Ooh, a phoenix.
Ooh.
Right?
Well,
Yeah.
talk about something that comes back after you kill it.
Yeah, like
Or you just wouldn't be able to taste anything at all because your tongue's been burned off.
I'm totally thinking spicy hot wings.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, a little buffalo wing action. I think the question, right, is how much time do you have, right? Like, we kill this thing, and it's like, okay, we're like running away, like, hop, 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 hop.
So is it a case of a mother and child sort of situation, or is it kind of like with the cave troll earlier, where you have to digest it first, and then it's reborn, and then you have an egg preparation?
I mean, I guess you would have to. What's that word you keep using? Cooking with acid?
Ceviche?
You probably have to ceviche it because if you try to cook it with fire, it's just going to come back. It's not going to work.
I mean, you could
They're
use
immune, right?
Ooh,
No, they're
actually
like
no.
flammable.
I have
Yeah,
your,
no, for sure.
I have your answer.
Oh,
Sous vide.
Oh, there we go.
that's a good answer.
You could also use it in a baking preparation, mix, form, let it proof, punch it down, and then let it rise again.
And then punch it down again because then you're baking a live one.
Ouch.
Okay, next monster.
A Sioux monster.
Sioux monster?
They're like little monkey guys.
All right.
I don't think I've heard of that one.
I have to
you spell it?
consult Google.
Yeah.
Google.
SU monster.
Touche.
Oh, it is in
It's a good thing
5e.
it's not a foo monster.
It is in 5e. Okay.
Yeah, monkey.
We're looking at monkeys here.
We can't put it on screen, unfortunately, because our phones aren't linked to the screen.
Well, I mean, I can Google it.
Yeah, you
It's like a
could pop
monkey
it up over
monster.
there.
All right.
Cunning, wicked primates. Interesting.
Now you get to see all of her tabs.
Monster 5e. Hush now. All of them. I have all the tabs. I have ADHD, and
Yes.
therefore that is a fact.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
There are all of them. Everyone that's ADHD looks at the tabs and are like, weak.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, so we're talking about psychic monkey monsters.
I would just singe all the hair off and then bury it in the ground and start a fire on top.
Well, I mean,
like kind of a pit roast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that. Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
well,
yeah, go ahead.
hold on, because they are like psychic monkeys. And has anyone here ever seen Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom?
Yarp.
Like monkey
No, what's
brain.
that?
Psychic monkey
Indian.
brain.
Speaking of brains, I think in that same sort of pit, like my brain's going immediately to like how you prepare like an entire like pig. What if you kill a mind flayer and then wrap like this monkey thingy inside like the tentacles of it to like create like almost like its own like oven and stuff?
So what I'm hearing is you want to moo kraken.
I hate it here.
What?
Speaking of the mind
McCracken.
flayer, I don't know if that was anyone's in line, but
Sorry.
I always want to do like a Scrapple with some kind of like crazy psychic monster because their brain's got to taste amazing.
For sure. All that knowledge in there.
Or you can make a mock kappa soup.
Look,
Okay, no one got that.
Look, I was next in line, so I'm going to say intellect devour anyway.
Fair
All
enough.
right.
Brain tacos.
Brain tacos with calamari.
I would so totally just braise those tentacles like you would octopus, like Spanish
For
octopus.
sure.
Yeah. Oh, especially if you could find some like drow wine
Ah.
or some mushroom
We're
wine.
back
or
to the
something.
drow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sun-dried drow.
Yeah.
This would work even better. It's a mind
That's what we do with the
It's all brain.
drow.
Oh, that's just
We
wrong.
just use the drow blood. That works. Do we get an alignment change for that though?
Yes.
I'm still
Damn it.
confused.
Yes.
All right, next monster.
Hydra.
Hydra.
Oh.
Ooh.
It is the dish that keeps giving.
Hydra six ways.
You can feed an army with one of those things.
That's very true.
All these monsters that regenerate, it's like a theme.
I know, but
Right.
the only trouble is if you eat it, will it regenerate in your digestive tract? I mean, that's the main danger, right?
No, it will not, because they only regenerate from the neck stump. The head itself does not,
Right.
so you're safe for eating.
Yeah, this is why we have a professional. We have professional DNs on the.
I may not know what a sous vide is, but I can tell you what a hydra is.
As long as you only eat the heads, you're good.
All right, so
Well, yep. You could cauterize it with fire, but you don't want to do that because, like, you want it to keep having more head.
all right, next
Whoever laughed
monster.
at that, I see you, okay?
All right, next monster.
Cockatrice.
Cockatrice.
Ooh.
Chicken, spicy chicken. We actually did that
Absolutely.
one.
Yeah, spicy chicken, just don't look at the eyes. Like, lop that head off from behind.
You know, I would probably make a curry with it.
But what if you eat the eyes?
It is our
What if you
least
eat the
family-friendly.
eyes?
I mean, what does eye taste
recipe.
like?
Well, I mean,
I don't
like,
know.
the thing is the cockatrice. I mean, you have the different like textures of meat because
Yeah.
like just like the manicore and everything. I'd probably do a curry, like kind of slow braised, but in
Sure.
coconut milk, and you know, it tenderizes it.
Ooh,
But
coconut
if there-
milk, yeah.
But especially if there's any fishy flavor from the reptilian parts,
Yeah.
I mean, that'll kind of neutralize it a little bit.
Yeah.
Or if you use buttermilk, buttermilk fried cockatrice.
Amazing.
All right, I've got 5 more minutes. So we have one more monster,
Yeah.
and then we'll go through the line like where you can find us and where we'll be and all that sort of thing. What's the last monster?
Red cap.
Red cap.
Cap.
Oh, okay. So once again, you got Faye.
red cap.
Of course, really all you need is just anything iron. You just smack it upside the head. And you actually, you probably don't even need fire to cook it. All you have to do is just place it on a cast iron skillet and let it cook itself.
We've got 10 in one campaign. We need a lot of ideas.
So I really highly recommend arming yourselves with a couple of cast iron skillets. I mean, you'll need at least strength 10, maybe. 10?
Yeah, come on, that's too
maybe
low.
8. Okay.
Strength 12.
Let's go with 12.
Sure.
They're chaotic evil.
Better than commoners.
Give the cast iron
That's a
skillets
good
to your tanks, and then cast iron, like, I don't know, the spits, like the front. Yeah. Just the 10. Go with the 10-inch or the cornbread pan, and then. Yeah, there you go. Then you have a whole army of red caps, and then just place them on top, and they'll cook themselves.
My brain immediately went to like yakitori. You just kind of like spear right through and just put it on the fire.
Well, yeah, you don't even need the fire. Just put them on the grill. The grill's iron.
Yeah.
It'll cook itself.
There you go, yeah.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Yeah. All right. Okay, cool. So that is our panel. Why don't we go down and say who you are, where people can find you, and what do you have coming up next?
I guess I'll start first. So I've been Jacob Plick, Duo King Jacob all over the internets. You can find me at 10 o'clock tonight talking about pretty much a bunch of TTRPGs that aren't D&D, talking about third-party publishers and a whole bunch of nonsense for that. And then I'll be in the RPG room, tabletop RPG room on Sunday, running a one-shot that I wrote called All of Our Dream at 3 o'clock, and then hanging out with Kat doing it again at 7 o'clock for about feeding our parties, I think, right?
Yeah, it's food and world building party, dinner and dice rolls.
Exactly.
It's, tomorrow.
So that'll be awesome. And then, and I'll be streaming on Twitch on my personal channel, same Dual King Jacob, here pretty soon. So thanks for coming, hanging out.
I'll be wandering around the con, looking at pretty things. The only other panel I'm a co-panelist on How to Paint a Gem Dragon, which is Sunday. Unfortunately, it's sold out, but that's where you'll find me. And if you just want to talk about writing and books and fantasy in general, you can come up and talk to me.
He is also running a summer camp for learning how to DM for, what's the age range for that over at Challenges Comics and Games?
We're doing like teens and tweens, so like, we're looking at 12 to 15 really.
So yeah, check out Challenges Comic and Games. They are located in Atlanta. They do have a summer camp about to start for teaching how to DM. Also, your book series, The Chronicles of Elysia, keep an eye out for the first book re-releasing soon. And next up, Kafir?
You can find Flavor Text Adventures at flavortextadventures.com, or same and on Instagram, etc., Facebook, Chef Alton Green on Twitter. I myself stream on Twitch through Cave Geek Art. If you go to the website, you can pre-order the book and download those free chapters. Please do, and I'll be here tomorrow for the world building and cooking.
Yes, dinner and dice rolls.
Dinner and dice rolls panel. Maybe talk about the in-game effects of eating things as well.
Okay.
All right. Like I said, I'm Level 1 Chef on the internet. I have a website blog. It's level, the number 1, and then chef.com. So you can see a bunch of video game recipes on there. And if you're interested in, board game cafes, you can check out our board game cafe. It's called Bard and Baker, and that's on Instagram. So you can check me out there.
And also your book.
And also the book. That's on Fangamer.
All right, and my name is Catherine Barsonistis. I run the Gluttonous Geek, i.e. gluttonousgeek.com or thegluttonousgeek.com, and my first 5th ed compatible adventure, Breakfast of Champions, is now available on DriveThruRPG. You should be able to find the link through my website. It involves breakfast food and silly costume fights with silly breakfast-themed names, i.e. think professional wrestling meets Bob's Burgers meets Dungeons & Dragons and breakfast food. Did I already say breakfast food? Breakfast food.
All perfect things.
Yes. So thank you so much for joining us today's panel, and we'll be at the next panel we have is tomorrow at 7. Yeah, 7 p.m.
Yep.
Dinner and dice rolls, where we talk about the role of food in world building and storytelling. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much,
MomoCon
everyone.
2024.
Thank y'all for coming.